Goal kick has been taken. Flicked on this time by Haller. Still defensively handled by Nearkate, who goes back to Diarra, gets the ball back from him inside his area. He's pass inside now for Samasiku. Coming short for the pass is Dumbaye. Receives the ball and quickly plays this out onto the right hand side for Traore. Traore then forced to go back again to Koulibaly. His inside pass for Traore. Now switch play onto the left hand side. Mali just allowing the ball to do all the work, trying to tire out Ivory Coast. See if they can find a chance with those tired legs down the line. Use the energy to their advantage, the extra player to their advantage, as that ball's played across now for Kouyaté again. Out to Traore. Traore's pass inside, excellently done. Still finds it on the outside now with Armand Traore. Back onto the left hand side. Couple of step overs this time completed before passing it back inside from Sacco. And this effort goes from range. It's been saved well by the goalkeeper, and Bolly's there first to it again. And it's now with Singo, who's got to try and clear the ball from the corner area, and he's put it out of play for a throw in. Haidara with an excellent shot from around about 30 yards out. It was a dip and dive sort of shot. It was falling just in front of the goalkeeper. He had to get down low to push this away. Marley playing very well at the moment, very composed, very patient. Can't allow these missed opportunities to prove frustrating for them. Ball's played back this time for Kouyaté. On to the right hand side again for Koulibaly. Traore gets it back, switches this across to Nearkate. Nearkate makes his way into Ivory Coast half. Deep into Ivory Coast half, and this time the cross looked more like it was a shot towards goal, and it's bounced out of play around about where the 6-yard line is. Not quite sure who he'd seen that he thought he should be going for at that point. That's gone out of play for a goal kick. Seen a replay of that effort just a moment ago by Haidara. It's a good effort, saved well by Fofana. Let's get down quickly for it. And now he's got a goal kick to take. Ball forward now, onto the right hand side. It's brought down by Bolly. In goes the challenge, and it's a throw in for Ivory Coast inside Marley's half. Chance now for Ivory Coast to go forward. Long ball down the line, under the challenge he goes down. That's a free kick now on the left hand side. Marley get a free kick, played out onto the right hand side now for Traore. Traore with the ball. Inside pass. Koulibaly. Spread this onto the left hand side now for Sacco. Sacco just inside his own half, switches it back across again for Kouyaté. Kouyaté takes it into the opposition half, back onto the right hand side now for Koulibaly again. And a chance here for Marley. Just taking the time in the build up for this. And again with Traore, plays this back to Kouyaté, switches the ball across. It's gone all the way across, and I think Marley have got lucky on that one because Willy Bolly was very close to getting to it. And now with Traore on the edge of the area, he's found the overlap and run on the right hand side. Amari Traore's cross has been blocked, and it's out of play by the corner flag for a throw into Marley, taken again by Traore. Plays it short to Adama Traore. This pass towards the centre circle goes to Nearkate. He's still inside Ivory Coast half at the moment. Every player from Mali, apart from the goalkeeper, is inside Ivory Coast half. And now there's overlapping run. Excellent ball to find him, but the cross is a bit too heavy by Sinayoko. It's gone all the way to the left hand side, but kept in play by Sacco. Sacco's pass goes central to Koulibaly again. Gives this ball back to Niakate, across to Kouyaté, back to Niakate, down the left hand side for Sakho. Sakho goes short this time for Samasiku, who switches the ball across to Kouyaté. Kouyaté gives it to Traoré. His inside pass finds his plenty of area. Inside the area, plenty of space, but that weak pass to go back means Ivory Coast have a chance to break at the moment. Going forward, and there's only two of them actually moving forward. It's a wonderful challenge, and Mali get the ball back, and Ivory Coast, when trying to create these counter-attacks, can't commit too many players forward. Because in an instance when Mali win the ball back, they've already outnumbered them, and it's forcing too much strain on the defensive duties. As in goes the challenge, this time by Conan. It comes off of the knee of Traoré and out of play for a goal kick. Just rewatching that, and yeah, it's come off of the shin. Come off of the shin of Traoré and out of play for a goal kick. Right decision by the referee. He was wanting a corner, but of course that is going to be the case. The goal kick is going to be taken by Fofana at the moment. 10 minutes into the second half, and it has been all Mali. Ivory Coast will just be counting down the minutes. Hoping to maybe somewhere find a bit of magic that could get themselves a goal. Now a free kick has been given against Mali, just inside Ivory Coast half, and I think it might have been for the high boot, in fact. And it is just inside Ivory Coast half that this is going to be taken from, and Kessie comes along to take it. To take the free kick, he's actually moved into the opposition half and played this short back into his own half. Gone defensively, and that long ball has been pushed forward. Again, there's nobody in that area. It was forcing a run from Haller, but he couldn't quite get there, and he was on his own even if he did. It was Mali attempt to counter-attack down the left-hand side. Willy Bolly is on hand to put the ball out of play and stop Sinioko's run down that left-hand side. Phone's been taken short. It's now back across to Kouyaté, now to Traoré. Traoré inside his own half, plays this short to Samasiku. Samasiku spreads this to Sakho on the left-hand side. In the opposition half, he finds Haidara by the touchline. Now with Sinioko. Goes back again. This ball forward's going to go all the way through, and it is going to be collected by Fofana. He first takes a touch with his feet just to welcome some pressure and waste a bit more time before picking it up in his hands when the pressure from Sinioko does join. He drops the ball at his feet, just waiting for more pressure again, trying to waste as much time as he possibly can off the clock. Again, this time it goes towards Haller. Headed down and away still from Mali though, and a chance on the left hand side once again, trying to find the run of Sinioko. And goes the challenge of Kessie, who's been pulled down to the floor holding the back of his head, and he wins a free kick for his troubles just inside his own half. And it was a challenge committed by Koulibaly that saw him fall to the floor. Free kick taken short between Singo and Bolly. Singo's ball forward this time again searches towards Hall, and it's been cleared by Niakate again. Headed down by Ndika. Onto the left hand side now for Conan. Conan's chip ball into the channel. Up goes the header. It has been headed away, and hoping for a throw in their direction. It's not going to be given. It's going to be given to Ivory Coast on this occasion. And Kouyaté saying that he didn't actually collide with Haller. The referee says that he did at least head the ball out of play, and it's going to be a throw to Ivory Coast, taken short, switched over onto the right hand side now. Through ball's going to be chased down. In fact, it's going to take an unfortunate bounce to go all the way out of play as Kessie starts to chase it down. Wilfred Singo with the ball forward. The goal kick is now going to be taken by Mali and by Diarra. Plays it short. Working their way up from the back at the moment are Mali. The ball is now with Niakate. Cross against Piarte. Piarte finds Traore, brings it inside, he's still got space, goes back into the centre circle for Niakate. Niakate out onto the left hand side now for Sinayoko by the touchline. He's got options in and around him, he's got plenty of Ivory Coast players in front of him as well. Instead brings this short, the ball back to him is headed away. Adama Traore is there battling for the ball as well. So the clearance goes over onto the right hand side. Traore keeps it in play, looks like he's about to continue. It was a delayed referee's whistle that brought things to a halt. It's a free kick by the touchline on the right hand side for Ivory Coast. A late challenge by Doumbia. Referee didn't give the free kick initially. Took his time before deciding that it was worthy of a free kick, and Mali are ready for their first change of the afternoon. And Nene is getting ready to join the game. He's just receiving his final instructions, so we'll wait until fourth official confirms that that change is going to be made. But with Mali in the ascendancy at the moment, you'd think an extra attacker might just seal things for them. Ivory Coast haven't looked too dangerous when pushing forward. They haven't committed too many players going forward either. That ball through is dummied actually, in fact, by Semenya, and it's gone all the way through and it has been cleared. It's somehow gone all the way back to Ivory Coast off of the back of the heel of Haller. Gone back towards his own goalkeeper. He tried to control the ball and it came with too much force for him. Sinayoko allowed the ball just to roll all the way through to Traore, who couldn't quite capitalise on it for Mali. They were on the same page, they were aware it was happening. So far in this game, the possession in this second half has gone up by around 6% in favour of Mali from what we saw at half time. And that's what difference having a player sent off can do to you and your side. As we're now going to see that change being made. In fact, we're going to see multiple changes being made. Diabate is coming on, and he is coming on for Haidara, one of the two players to have been booked in Mali's side in this first half. And the second change we'll see, as mentioned, Nene joining the game, and he will be coming on for the other player that has received a yellow card in Adama Traore. So Adama Traore and Amadou Haidara off, and Nene and Fousseni Diabate on is the change. The two changes for Mali as they push to get themselves a late goal. Just under 30 minutes left of regular time in this game. Goalless as it stands at the moment. Watched out of play there by Sacco. He looks like he's trying to keep it out of play all the way through from the throw-in. But in fact, there's a challenge there that comes in from Kessie. Off the left foot, he's actually bounced this off Sacco. I'm not quite sure if it did go completely out of play. Sacco's saying it did. Kessie's saying it didn't. The linesman has pointed for a corner for Ivory Coast. Mohamed Adel has chosen to go with his official. Right-footed out swinging corner for Ivory Coast then. On the right-hand side. Goes central. It's headed goalwards by Singo. It's been cleared off the line. Headed away onto the right-hand side now, and a chance for Mali to break if they can do so with Nene. Nene's ball forward down the right-hand side has been chased this time, and it's just kept in play. I think the touch was too heavy as well from Koulibaly. The Ivory Coast can walk out with the ball. From set pieces, they've got the aerial advantage of Ivory Coast. And that was proven then when Singo won the header and had it cleared off the line. Now quick football from Mali to try and create something down this left-hand side. Excellent ball. It's just a bit too weak though. Held up a bit more than I expected it to on the ground as that pass was made onto the left-hand side to be changed by Diabate. Now it's with Kessie. Goes down under the challenge. Wants a free kick for it. The referee's going to agree on this occasion and give the free kick. Looks like he might have caught himself in the stomach. I'm just watching the replay of Singo's attempts on goal. He'd got a free header. There were no players around him. It's been cleared off the line by Sacco, but there were no players around him. Now the ball has been rolled out by Fofana onto the left-hand side with Conan. In goes the challenge. It's been won back, and now on the right-hand side with Traore. Traore's ball goes in. It's been blocked, though, by Conan and out of play for a corner. And another corner to Marley, and weak passing from Ivory Coast. The tired legs starting to prove pivotal at the moment. Actually an argument there, looking at the replay, for Ivory Coast to have a goal kick at that point. That might actually be a good shout, but it's not been given by the officials, and it's a Marley corner that Ivory Coast will have to defend. Everybody back, of course, for Ivory Coast. The majority, if not all players, forward at the moment. We've got an in-swinging corner from Diabate. Goes in towards the near post. It's been headed behind the goal. Marley wants another corner, and they're going to get one on the opposite side this time, though. It's Traore that's gone in for the header, and it's come off of the head of Kessie, who's headed that out of play. So the right decision is another corner. This time it's going to be that the referees let him take it on the same corner. Left foot in swinger again, goes in towards the middle. It's collected this time by Fofana, who goes down holding on to the ball. There's no need for a quick counter attack. There's no players forward for them. He's held on the ball just outside his own 6-yard box. Just holds things, pushes the ball towards his chest just to keep possession. Now on the left hand side, Conan gets the ball. His pass inside, down under the challenge, does go Horler and wins a free kick just inside Marley's half. Ivory Coast are moving as a unit. There's no defence, midfield or attack anymore within that side. It's just a case of everybody is moving as a unity, defending as 10 players, attacking as 10 players, and to an extent maybe even bypassing the midfield, which might be explaining why Marley are getting a lot of the possession. But there's a chance here for them creating an attack moving forward. Out on the right hand side now in possession is Gradle. His cross goes in, it's taken a deflection, but it's still been cleared from the middle, and Marley get the ball back, still under some pressure defensively at the moment. Gives the ball to Sacco. His ball down the line is going to be chased, and it's forced to go all the way back to the goalkeeper, and the chase continues for Sinioko. Eventually cleared by Fofana, but Sinioko was very close to getting the ball off of him as Kessie gets it in the middle of the park now. Plays it back onto the right hand side for Willy Bolly. Goes back to Singo. Singo back to the goalkeeper. Fofana's ball out onto the right hand side. Brought down well by Traore. And Marley have regrouped, and Ivory Coast all back inside their own half, while Marley have the ball inside their own half. Now the ball with Sacco on the left hand side. Plays this across to Kouyaté. Kouyaté out right now for Traore. Traore's ball down the line, finds Koulibaly. He goes down under the challenge, wants a free kick for it. Looks like it's going to be a throw into Ivory Coast. It is, and Conan comes across to take it. After his challenge on Diabate, he wanted a free kick for it, just in front of the technical area on the left hand side now. A throw in for Conan. Conan throws this back to Ndika. Ndika goes all the way back to Fofana, who is under pressure again by Nene. The clearance has been made out onto the right hand side, and a chance now for a break for Ivory Coast. This chip ball forward has just made it too far ahead of Horler, and Kouyaté can clear his lines. Horler tried to bring that down. He got no support around him. He was just outside the area and could maybe have put a bit of pressure on Diarra. But instead Marley have possession on the left hand side now with Sinioko. Goes back to Haidara. And back across now to Kouyaté. Kouyaté onto the right hand side for Traore. Traore finds Koulibaly. And the ball is played all the way back to Kouyaté. Now for Niakate. Niakate finds Sacco. Sacco is by the touchline. Goes all the way back to Niakate again, then gives the ball to Kouyaté. Now a chance again, pushing forward. Samasiku with the ball. Forced to go back again to Kayate, his centre half. And that pass has then been made to Niakate. Long ball forward in the direction of Sinioko. Header brings it down for Traore. Lays the ball off now for Koulibaly. He's pass inside again for Samasiku. And then back onto the right hand side. This cross goes in. It's been headed away by Singo. Out of play for a throw in on the right hand side. Entering up to the last 20 minutes of the game. Mali 0, Ivory Coast 0. And Mali still controlling the game and controlling the possession, trying to create these chances. On the left hand side is Diabate. Now with Nene. Weak pass, but Nene gets there. He manages to flick this on. Still a player down for Mali at the moment. Cross goes in towards the box though, and it has been cleared by Ndika. It's watched out of play, and now Mali will take the time whilst they have got a player down, just to wait for them to get back to their feet and then take the throw in. Now played across the middle for Koulibaly again. Koulibaly out into the right hand side, finds Traore. Traore's pass inside for Koulibaly. Koulibaly gives it back to Traore again. Now back across to Niakate. Niakate's through ball, held up now by Sinioko. He goes down under the challenge, nothing given. But possession from Nene is kept with Mali. Ball back in towards Nene. His back heel's a bit too heavy. And almost gives Ivory Coast a chance to clear the ball. Down to the right hand side. The effort's lined up, and effort goes goalwards, and it's into the back of the net. That is absolutely phenomenal by Nene. Out on the left hand side, he brings us in, dribbles it past one player from around about 25 yards out, keeps the ball onto his right foot, and absolutely blisters the ball into the corner. No chance for Fofana. He didn't even make an attempt to reach across for it. The ball is in the back of the net. That is absolutely sublime. And it is Mali 1, Ivory Coast 0. That is one of the better goals that you will see at all in this competition from Nene. The confidence to bring that in from the left hand side onto your right foot. He lined up the shot on multiple occasions, but continued to dribble it past Ivory Coast players. First by Kesse, and then the ball just absolutely flew into the corner. Might have taken a deflection, in fact, on its way through, but it's just landed in the top corner. That is an incredible finish from Nene. And now, with 18 minutes left to go, and with 10 men on the field, Ivory Coast have a bigger hill to climb. It is Mali 1, Ivory Coast 0. And as it stands, the hosts are going out of the African Cup of Nations. Next change is going to be made immediately, though, by Ivory Coast. And Max Gradle will leave the field, as Ivory Coast will get things back underway for us. Max Gradle goes off, and Umar Diakite comes on. So maybe a bit more of an attacking approach now from Ivory Coast. They have nothing to lose. There's no group stages. It's winning you're in, losing you're out at this point of the competition, of course, in the quarter-final stages. And Ivory Coast look to have adopted more to a back three at the moment then, with now Ndika, Singo and Bolly as your centre half three. Kessie goes down under the challenge. And a free kick has been given to Ivory Coast just inside their own half. It's been a mad ending to the first half, and we've had quite a lot of entertainment throughout the course of this second. It's been nice football built up by Mali. They've taken the time. They've picked apart the opposition to try and find those chances for themselves. And down under the challenge inside his own half goes Haller. Gets himself a free kick, taken quickly. Possession is collected by Samasiku. Goes back to his goalkeeper. We are able to continue with play. Just waiting for Ivory Coast players to come towards him as it goes to Kouyaté. Back to Diarra again, back to Kayate, just inside the area. Dribbles the ball outside of the area, lays the ball off to Traore. His ball down the line, he's headed away by Singo. It's inside their own half at the moment. With the ball is Ivory Coast. Heavy touch there by Singo. He's tried to dribble it past Sinioko and he's gone down under the challenge. Free kick has been given. No yellow card though. And Dicker plays this to Conan on the left hand side. Conan's come short for it. His through ball has been cleared this time, and there's hopes that a free kick's going to be given to Ivory Coast, but Marley continue pushing forward. No free kick has been given. Out on the right hand side. Now a throw-in's been given against Marley. Diabate was judged to have dribbled this out of play, as Koulibaly remains down on the floor at the moment after a challenge. The referee's just having to check things with the manager at the moment. I think we are going to see the second cooling break of the afternoon. And this time it is Marley holding a 1-0 lead as we do so. Plenty of action on its way, of course. All changes look set to have been made by Ivory Coast. They will continue as they are for now. The same with Marley, of course, who are controlling this game with the extra player, and they're doing so very, very well. But 75 minutes gone, it's Marley 1, Ivory Coast 0. We're about ready for getting things back underway. Onto the right foot of Nene, and that is an absolute phenomenal goal. Just being shown replays of it at the moment. To have the audacity to bring the ball in onto your right foot so confidently and so comfortably, and to strike it with such venom into the top corner. Take your side on the brink of an African Cup of Nations semi-final, their first win over Ivory Coast at the African Cup of Nations in the nation's history. Going taken by Traore, goes all the way back to Kayate, now back across to Niakate. Now to Sacco on the left hand side. Sacco plays the ball across to Kayate again. This time he finds Traore. Traore's pass inside to Koulibaly. Goes all the way back to Kayate again. Lofted ball forward, brought down very well by Samasiku. Back onto the right hand side for Traore. Ball through is chased down now though by Sinioko. He's been dispossessed just inside the area by Ndika. Plays it out onto the left hand side now though with Diakite. Under pressure. Quick football from Ivory Coast, but the heavy touches have done them no favours, and it's back now with Marley on the right hand side. Ball back again to Traore. Traore plays this more centrally. Now they try to switch the ball onto the left hand side. There is Nene once again. This time the flag's gone up for offside. The free kick's been given to Ivory Coast, and they'll try and take this quickly. Not much to go out from it though. They've not got too many options pushing forward. Seems a very defensive setup at the moment. The side that went down to 10 men and obviously tried to hold on to the goalless scoreline. And on the left hand side now a throw for Conan. Conan throws this down for Haller, who's come short for it. Conan gets the ball back. Now it's another throw, about 5 yards further forward than where he's just had it. Still on the left hand side inside his own half. He's going to be taken by Conan again. Conan goes central. Down under the challenge goes Kessie, and it's going to be a free kick now to Ivory Coast inside their own half. This time it's played across to Singo. Finds Bolly on the right hand side. Bolly goes back to Singo again. Singo's inside pass for Kessie. He gets the ball back on the right hand side. This time the ball into space is chased down by Haller, but out comes Diarra. He punts that forward. It's back into Ivory Coast half, and work to do now for their defence again. And now the short pass goes to Seri. Seri back again to Bolly. Goes back to Fofana. He fakes out that pass and catches Sinioko out with it, but his long ball forward again might create an opportunity now for Ivory Coast as they continue into the opposition half. Gone down under the challenge, and now a free kick has been given, and now a yellow card has been given as well. So Mali with some defensive work left to do. It's Koulibaly that's received the yellow card. We prepare for the last 10 minutes of this game, with Ivory Coast desperate to get something out of it, as Frank Kessie could be seen telling the supporters that they need an extra bit of volume, that extra bit of support to get them over the line in this tough battle. The long ball goes forward, and Diarra puts his foot on it and takes his time with the ball, waits for the press to come to him before picking the ball up. And we'll then roll this out onto the right hand side for Kouyaté again. Kouyaté's ball inside. It's been brought down very well this time by Koulibaly. His pass onto the right hand side for Diabate. And then under the challenge, we've got another free kick, this time for Mali inside Ivory Coast half. Taken very quickly, split onto the left hand side for Sinioko. And the referee's just pulling it back, telling them we've got to take this again. Inside the opposition half, and that'll suit Mali down to the ground, because they'd made an error just a moment ago and given possession back to Ivory Coast, so the fact they've got to retake it works out very much in their favour. Another pass inside coming from Traoré. Another chance now for Mali as the breakthrough goes through, and he's going to see if he can keep this in play. Down inside his own area, under the challenge goes Conan. He's handled the ball, but a free kick has been given first for the challenge on that right hand side for Diabate. It was a good ball if Diabate could get there. He was under a lot of pressure to get there ahead of Conan. Conan's gone down under the challenge and wins a free kick inside his own area. It's going to be taken by Fofana. He's urging every Ivory Coast player to push forward as this free kick's been taken. Brought down on the touch by Haller. Down to the right hand side, a chance for Ivory Coast. The cross has been blocked by Kessie. He watches that out of play for a corner. There we go, it's gone out for a corner. Sacco was trying to keep that in play. He's arguing, saying it stayed in play, but from the angle I was looking at, there's no way that is in play. And now Ivory Coast have a corner out on the right hand side. This game is far from over. There is still a chance for the hosts to get something out of it. Forced into 2 substitutions through injury defensively. Both those players are now forward for this set piece. Singo's already won one of these headers and headed it goalwards and forced a clearance off the line. Can he do the same again? Goes in towards the mix, headed goalwards, and it's just wide by the slimmest of margins. Mali keep their lead. It's going to be a goal kick now for Diarra, but Diakite, who rose highest and headed that goalwards, there was a sea of Ivory Coast players, and all it took was one heading that towards the goal. Diakite, by the slimmest of margins, just hits the outside of the post. It's going to be a goal kick. Taken onto the right hand side, kept in play by Traoré. Misplaced pass this time from Kouyaté gives Ivory Coast a chance to press forward once again. This time the pass is made inside to Diakite, out onto the right hand side. He tries to keep that in play. He's done very well to do so. He's still under pressure though, and he is forced to go back to Willy Bolly, who goes down under the challenge, and a free kick's been given. In fact, he's actually given it as a throw-in. He originally gave it as a throw-in to Mali. He's changed his mind with the assistance of the with the linesman and given it as a throw-in to Ivory Coast, out on the right-hand side. Inside Mali's half, Ivory Coast have a throw-in that they could take. In fact, He's given it as a free kick. He's overruled the linesman and given a free kick. The cross goes in towards the back post. It's been headed goalwards again. This time it's been brought down inside the area. He's then gone down under the area. The referee signal he needs to get up. Penalty claims waved away. And now Marley have a chance to break themselves. This time a free kick's been given on the left-hand side. Very similar distance to that on the right-hand side. But now on the left. We'll have a break in play while Kessie is down on the floor. Kessie brought that ball down on his chest. And then he's gone down under a challenge whilst he was trying to move forward into the ball. Now I'm not sure if this is going to be given as a penalty, as Traore says that it came off of the hand. Penalty's not been given. The free kick goes in towards the box and it's headed goalwards and it's been held well by Diarra. He just calms things down for his side at the moment. Back-to-back free kicks for Ivory Coast comes to nothing. It was a great header in the end, sent goalwards by Singo. He's such a threat from these set pieces. Won almost every header that's come his way. Just can't seem to get the final pieces to get a goal. Can Ivory Coast at the moment. A second goal for Marley now would surely see the game over as they break on the left hand side. It's with Sinioko. Goes down under the challenge, but still running down the left hand side now is Sacco. In space, he's got options in the middle if he chooses to use them. Brings the ball back instead. Onto the edge of the area now with Nene. Nene's through ball into the area. And in goes the challenge this time from Willy Bolly, and it's out of play for a corner to Marley out on the left hand side. Just take the time with things slightly now, and they can afford to do so. As now we'll see the last change to be made by the Ivory Coast, and that will be Seri that leaves the field. And he leaves behind the goal. And it is going to be in his place Simon Adingra. So the last roll of the dice has now been thrown by Ivory Coast, by the host nation, with a chance to get something out of it. First they have to defend this Marley corner. Right-footed aim swinger goes towards the back post. It's headed away by the Marley player. In fact, he looked a bit off balance. It's been headed away by Kuyate. He was off balance. He was reaching back for it. Had he not done that, he was actually going onto the head of Nearkite. So I don't know if there's a lack of communication between the two centre halves. But either way, it's now been cleared away by Ivory Coast, and Marley have themselves a throw-in on the right-hand side. And then it's watched out of play by Diabate, who goes into the challenge with Bolly and wins the sixth corner. This time it's going to be on the right-hand side. Another corner for Marley, and Nearkate and Kuyate both move forward once again for this. Ivory Coast have left a player forward for any counter-attack possibilities. Left-footed in swinging corner, goes towards the near post. It has been headed away. Is there a chance for Ivory Coast still at this point? Excellent defensive work on the right-hand side by Koulibaly. And Marley still have the possession and still have it in the ascendancy. Out on the right-hand side now is Diabate. Onto his left foot, plays this ball back. In goes the challenge now, and it's going to be a throw-in to Marley. Ivory Coast were wanting it on the right-hand side, just in front of the technical area. We're now into the final 3 minutes of regular time before we find out how much added time is going to be given, as we will see 2 more substitutions made for Marley. And we're just waiting for the confusion to be cleared up, because Sinioko saw his number up. Waiting for the confirmation that he's going to be one of those players leaving the field. Leaving the field, I can tell you, will be Lassana Koulibaly, who of course also has been booked in this game. No reason to risk a further yellow card, and Mamadou Fofana will come on. And the other substitute coming on is Boubacar Traore. And he's come on as well. So 2 changes made by Marley. Do still have one available if they wish to use it. And the second change did see Sinioko leave the field. So Sinioko, Koulibaly, both off. Boubacar Traore onto the field. Headed away this time to the edge of the area. Cleared eventually again. Marley seems to have gone very defensive at the moment, with the remaining changes that they've made. It's actually just come flashing up saying that there's been 4 changes made at that point by Marley, but I don't quite see where the other changes came from. He's on the edge of the area now. There's a chance for Ivory Coast. Dribbles it into the area, laid off onto the edge. The effort's been blocked. It's fallen back to him and it's poked into the top corner. And Ivory Coast have drawn level in the final moments of the game. And it's the substitute Adingra. The ball was ricocheting in the penalty area, and it has fallen to Adingra, who pokes at the ball to put it into the top corner in the final moments of the game. We look almost set to be going to extra time, as those changes were made just in time for Ivory Coast. And as the clearance was attempted, it bounced back to the feet of Adingra, who from around 8 yards out only had to hit the target. He did so in fashion. He put it into the top corner. And it's great dribbling work on the right hand side to keep the possession, taking it into the area. There is a Marley player down in the build up to this, and that will probably frustrate Marley even more. But as the shot on target was blocked, it was in fact blocked by Adingra, who kept the ball. And the goalkeeper Diarra had already committed. And despite having 10 players on the field, Ivory Coast have drawn level. We're now going into extra time, or we're going into added time, and then potentially extra time afterwards. This game is far from over. We're just waiting, as there may be a VAR check in the build-up to this, as the referee is just speaking into his earpiece. We will find out what's happening on the end of it. There has been a yellow card issued. Don't believe there is going to be a VAR check, but I think it's gone to one of the physios, the yellow card in fact. And the goal is going to stand, and Ivory Coast are level. No VAR check needed. And the referee, with a player down on the floor at the moment, they're surrounding the referee, our Marley players, because there was a player down on the floor at the time of the goal being scored. I'm not quite sure where the incident would be that they'd be pulling that back for, just looking at the replay. It was dribbling that led to the goal from Adingra, who brought this in onto his left foot, laid the ball off and got the ball back after the shot, poked the ball home. I mean that the host nation are not yet out of this competition. 7 minutes of added time has been indicated. Deerkite left the field with an injury. He's expected back when the referee allows that in a moment. And Marley will now look desperate to try and get themselves another goal to stop extra time. Ivory Coast could very well be doing something very similar, and a free kick's now being given to Ivory Coast. And it looks quite a soft free kick to have given on this occasion. Looks like the centre half just rose the highest. And as he landed, it was Fofana that rose, and as he landed funnily on his ankle, so I'm not sure if that was a free kick, but either way that's what's been given. As now we have to wait a minute whilst Ivory Coast goalkeeper Fofana is down on the floor, and the referee has gone across to the goalkeeper to try and help him back to his feet. He's remained down on the floor at the moment. I think it's cramp. And that wouldn't surprise me, as we are expecting to see the last change now from Marley. And Yves Bissouma is going to be joining the game in just a moment. We'll see who he's going to be coming on for. It may even be Niakate, it could be Samasiku. Everybody that's been substituted so far for Marley has received a yellow card within this game, but there's no players left for that yellow card. Free kicks taken. Headed away by Sacco. Back into the area, headed away this time by Niakate. Put down defensively, and in goes the challenge this time from Haller. Gets possession back for Ivory Coast. He's got it on the touchline on the right hand side at the moment. He plays this back short. The cross goes in by Willy Bolly. It's been headed away. Goes all the way through and collected this time by Singo. Singo with possession for Ivory Coast. Just waiting for this opportunity for the last change to be made for Marley. Into the final 2 minutes of added time before we go into extra time. An additional 30 minutes of football will be played, and then of course may need to be ended by a penalty shootout. Now with Koyate out onto the right hand side for Traore. Traore just inside the opposition half in front of the technical area. Now played across again for Niakate. Cross goes in, it has been blocked by Fofana. And Marley get possession back very quickly. Can they get something in the final moment here as the through ball goes all the way through to Fofana? Will take his time before diving on the ball as we enter into the final minute of added time. Looks destined that this is where it's heading, and Bissouma will not be coming on until the full-time whistle has gone and we go to extra time. Under a minute remains now, and then whatever extra the referee feels he needs to add on after the Adingra goal and celebrations. Of course, a player down on the field hurt. That long ball forward from Fofana has been headed away. It's still on the right hand side, watched out of play by Bolly. Now it's going to be a throw in for Ivory Coast, and it's going to be a last change for Marley, and it will be Bissouma that comes on, and it will be Doumbia that comes off. So the final change is made by Marley just in time for this full-time whistle to go. Kamori Doumbia leaves the field, and Yves Bissouma joins the game. Throwing on the right hand side, taken in towards the area, chested down going towards the area, brings it down inside, and it has been intercepted then by Sacco. In goes the challenge, and it's a throw in now beside the corner flag for Marley inside their own half. Under pressure is Sacco, as we've now played those 7 minutes, and another player is down on the floor. Referee, of course, will be adding this time on before blowing the full-time whistle. And there goes the full-time whistle. We are going to extra time. It is currently Marley 1, Ivory Coast 15 minutes each way for both of these sides, and if we do not have a clear winner after those 30 minutes have been played, we will go to a penalty shootout to determine which of these sides will make it through to the semi-final. Marley get us underway after the referee has redone the coin toss, and with a player more they'll continue to press from the early on. Ball down the right hand side is chased down by Diabate, takes it into the area, brings it back onto his left foot. That cross has gone all the way in. It's been headed away only towards the back post. First touch is dispossessed by the chest of an Ivory Coast player as he starts to make his way out, and in goes the challenge this time. The referee's given nothing. The second challenge goes in. The referee now gives a free kick. As making his way out from the back was Diakite. Excellent defensive work from him, put his arms behind his back so that there was no way that it could be given as a penalty. There were still claims from Marnie that they felt that a hand was used to redirect the ball, but not on this occasion. And Bolly gets the free kick at the centre circle of his own half. Plays this across to Ndika. His ball forward. Takes an unfortunate bounce off of Traore, who then clears his lines. Headed away this time by Ndika. Onto the left hand side now with Conan. Conan continues his run. And then in goes Haller to help out with holding on to the possession, but the challenge has been made by Fofana, and it's out of play for a throw-in now for Ivory Coast. And Mali get the ball back quickly. Plays it across the centre, just outside the area at the moment. Round to the right hand side for Traore. Has a bit of space to move into, but opts to play the ball back instead to Kayate. Now across to Niakate. And then Sacco. Sacco inside his own half, plays it across to Kayate. Kayate then finds Traore in the opposition half. This pass for Samasiku. Back onto the right hand side with Traore. This is the football that Mali were playing throughout the course of the first half of the second half, in fact. Holding on to possession, trying to find those gaps and those opportunities, forcing the ball to do all the work and tire the legs of Ivory Coast, but the impeccable timing of the substitutions means we have been level going into the final moments of the game, and Ivory Coast got themselves back into the game. Both sides will be allowed one more substitution with extra time, and the throw-in's taken now by Singo. Throws it down short. Possession is won back nonetheless, and they're still pushing on the left-hand side. A couple of boots just flying about with kicks at the moment. The referee's not quite sure what's going on, but a free kick has been given in the direction of Marley. Kessie felt that maybe he was the one that deserved the free kick in that scenario. There were multiple players down. I'm not quite sure who gets the free kick or why. The referee opted to give it to Marley on this occasion. And we are back underway. Now with Samasiku. Through ball onto the left-hand side. The run was halted by Sacco. He started the run and then stopped after the ball had been played. Maybe it was a too heavy pass and he didn't feel he could get there. He was looking for Nene as an option as well. And that'll be a goal kick to Ivory Coast. All the moment is Hauler as that goal kick is taken in his direction. It has been headed away though by Kuyate. And on the left hand side, Nene tries to dribble it past and he's gone out of play for a throw in now just in front of the dugouts on the right hand side inside Marley's half. Going to be taken by Willy Bolly. He's looking down the line for if he can find any options. Goes quite far down the line, quite a good distance on that throw as well. Brought down now by Kessie. Gives it now to Singo. And to the right hand side for Deerkite. Deerkite under pressure. Forced to go back again to Singo. There's a Marley player now down on the floor holding his face. I think it's Nene that's gone down feeling that maybe a waving arm caught him in the face from Kessie, and that's exactly what's happened looking at the replay, but no free kick has been given on this occasion. I believe the touchline will have another throw-in. This has been taken and it's now fallen again to Singo. Singo's ball goes in towards the back post. It's headed goalwards, it's off the crossbar, and then it's been cleared. Chance for Ivory Coast. Header from Hauler at the back post, across the face of goal, bounced off the crossbar, and no Ivory Coast players could react to it quickest. Now, the ball out onto the left-hand side with Kessie. Cross goes forward into the area, tries to beat one man, tries to beat the second, and the cross has been blocked. Out of play for a corner from Adingra. And now the flag goes up against Adingra for being offside. And Marley can just take a moment to reset and regroup after. That's an excellent cross in, and a wonderful header to have leapt highest above Kuyate and ahead of Traore to head that goalwards, and it's bounced off the crossbar. The goalkeeper was nowhere in the area. Even if it was a little bit lower, it looked like it was going to be a goal. That shows that Ivory Coast are not out of this game and not out of this competition just yet. Despite being down to 10 players, they've been very disciplined positionally. As a unit, stood very strong. And now we'll get things back underway from where we were, as we've just got Fofana back down on the floor being handled by the physios just to make sure that everything is okay. Have a brief water break for both of these sides. Remember, 15 minutes of the first half. We're now 8 minutes into that first half, and then we've got the exact same 15 minutes of a second half, and then the dreaded penalty shootout, which will promise to provide heartbreak for one of these nations. On the left hand side now by the touchline is Sacco. Plays the ball across to Kuyate. Kuyate finds Traore. Goes ball short this time for Samasiku. Gets the ball back. Plays it across to Niakate again. Now with Fofana. Back to Kouyaté again. Pass forward for Fofana. Out onto the right hand side in space. He's found Traoré. Looking for options in the box if he can find any. Only one player in the box at the moment for Mali. Back on the right hand side again. Plays it back once again to Traoré. Plays across onto the left hand side. Now by the touchline, brings it onto his left foot, onto the edge of the area, lays this off. Still a chance with Mali in possession at the moment. Wide right with the ball by the touchline. The cross has gone in. It's a difficult one to handle, but it's been played out of play by Willy Bolly. It's going to be another corner now to Mali. Their 7th of the afternoon. And we'll see with the final 7 minutes of this first half what the decision is in both of these sides heading into that break. Left footed in, swinging corner it goes. It's headed from inside the 6-yard box, just over. Another good chance goes begging for Mali. Another goal kick comes the way of Ivory Coast. Just receiving instructions from the manager on the touchline. A bit more urgency required by Ivory Coast. They seem to be dropping off slightly defensively, but the player down, the work rate is probably needed to be higher. The energy levels have been used much higher. Now, throw-in's being given to Mali on the right-hand side. Going to be taken across by Traoré, deep inside his own half. Throws that back to his goalkeeper, just outside the area. Plays this across again onto the left-hand side. Sakho's under pressure. Kouyaté's on hand to help out. Plays it back to his goalkeeper. Played short now for Niakate. Under pressure, he's lofted the ball forward. Headed away this time by Singo. Head all the way back to Fofana by Kessie. Fofana hoofs the ball clear. It's been won by the head of Kessie again. He's only just got back to his feet, but still on the left-hand side now. Nene gets the ball, plays this inside, gets the ball back on the left-hand side in space, just outside the area, waiting for options to join him in the box. Nene's ball goes into the area, put onto the left foot, goes goalwards, effort's been blocked, it's fallen back to the edge of the area, still a chance though. No, the challenge goes in, it's been cleared. Ivory Coast can clear the lines, and he goes down under the challenge at the halfway line, does Ola, and wins a free kick for his side. Another chance for Mali. It just goes. I think when the ball has been played back, there wasn't a need for the extra touch by Traoré. He took a heavy touch onto his left foot and maybe a bit too much of a touch. And then, before you know it, the opportunity has gone begging. And players are back for Ivory Coast to be able to block. And now, another change to be made by Mali. This is the additional change I mentioned. Samasiku now leaves the field and he will be replaced by Ibrahim Sissoko. So that's the final change made by Mali. And we will continue with the players now for Mali that are on the field. Ball forward again. Headed away into the left-hand side. Still with Ivory Coast at the moment. Conan plays the ball inside. Goes down under the challenge this time in a very dangerous position, does Adingra. And a chance now for Ivory Coast into the final 3 minutes of regular time in extra time. We'll see what added time gets added on at the end of this. Won't expect it to be much. We've only seen the one substitution. Otherwise the game has been pretty much straightforward. Or at least in extra time it has. Plenty of players forward for Ivory Coast now. Waller moving forward, Bolly forward, Singo forward. Cross goes in towards the back post. It's an overhead kick attempted by Singo, but he doesn't quite connect with the ball, and it's out of play for a goal kick now to Marley. And they'll take the time just for a moment before taking this goal kick. Played out short, this time to Niakate. This pass forward finds Bissouma. Bissouma goes towards the halfway line and passes this inside. Still with possession for Marley inside their own half, inside the centre circle at the moment. Ball out onto the left hand side. This time it goes wide left for Nene. Brings it down under the challenge, and then the challenge comes in from Willy Bolly, and that's out of play for a throw in now in a very dangerous position for Marley. Now switches this over onto the right hand side, played back across on the edge of the area, lines up an effort, it goes goalwards, and it's held well by Fofana on the second attempt. Puts his hands in the way of it just to take the sting out of the shot originally, and then dives onto the ball on the second attempt from around about 25 yards out. It was straight at the keeper. Just with the power, it could have sprung anywhere, and really you need a striker to be gambling on those sort of opportunities. If Fofana dives on the ball, he pumps the ball forward again into the last 30 seconds before any added time that needs to be added at the end of this first half of extra time. Throwing on the right hand side now for Ivory Coast inside their own half. In front of the technical area of the two managers. Throwing goes down the line. Quite a bad throw as well. Kessie's there to win possession back, but it was a very poor throw in, almost went straight into Marley's territory and Marley's possession. Now Sacco on the left hand side wins possession back, plays it back centrally now for Kouyaté, plays it across now for Traoré. Chance for Marley to break on the far right hand side by the touchline. Good opportunity here with a couple of step overs being made by Diabate. Goes down under the challenge, and a throw-in's being given over on the right hand side for Marley in a dangerous position. Across to take this comes Traoré, and they'll see if they can get something just before the end of extra time in the first half. 1 minute has been added on. One singular minute and a chance for Marley at the moment. Out onto the left hand side with Nene. Couple of step overs from Nene outside the area. Lays this ball back off again to Sacco. Back across onto the right hand side. This cross goes in goalwards. It's been cleared this time by Ndika. Still with Marley at the halfway line. Still defensive work for Ivory Coast to do before this half is over. Back centrally again. And there goes the whistle. And that puts an end to the first half of extra time, where it is Marley 1, Ivory Coast 1. If this is the case in 15 minutes time, we are heading a penalty shootout to determine which of these sides makes their way through to the semi-finals of the 2024 African Cup of Nations. Throw in now on the left hand side for Mali. They've used all of their changes. Still one available for Ivory Coast should they wish to make that change. Now with Kouyaté back across to Traoré. Just inside his own half, Traoré plays this back across to Niakate. Niakate out onto the left hand side for Sakho. Sakho then plays the short pass back to Niakate again. Now switches it onto the right hand side for Traoré. Traoré's pass down the line. Finds a player who goes down under the challenge. It's Diabate that goes down. The free kick has been given on the touchline on the right hand side. This time it's played short. Mali going back inside their own half from the free kick. Now the ball onto the left hand side is brought down by Nene. Wide left at the moment. Nene's cross goes in towards the back post. Diabate can't quite get to it, but it's gone all the way through to Traoré, who keeps this in play just outside the area on the right hand side. With Traoré at the moment. Traoré's pass goes short. He's got extra support available to him as Fofana comes short for him. Plays this across now to Bissouma. Back onto the edge of the area for Bissouma as Nene then gets the ball back, and in goes the challenge on the right hand side by Bolly, who's under pressure by multiple Mali players. Goes down under the challenge. Nothing's been given, and Mali are able to continue with possession. Kouyaté plays this onto the right hand side. In space now is Traoré again. It's only for a moment though as Adingra rejoins. Starts to put him under some pressure on the left hand side. Now with Mali. Wide left, Nene gets the ball. Flag stays down at the moment. Nene tries to beat his man, goes down under the challenge, and a free kick has been given in a dangerous position for Mali. The challenge goes in from Diakite. Won't be given a yellow card, but he doesn't feel that even a free kick should have been given, but it has been on this occasion. And looking at the replay, the referee's got this one absolutely right, as the arms were used to hold Nene back. Free kick on the left hand side, about equal with the goalkeeper's area, close to the touchline. Mali have a free kick. Plenty of options forward. Ball goes in towards the middle. It's been headed away as far as the edge of the area. It lined up well, but it's still played onto the left hand side again. Still an opportunity for Mali. Brings it into the inside, still outside the area. Onto his left foot, takes it into the area. Ball across the face of goal. It's come off of a couple of Ivory Coast players, and it's gone just wide at the back post. Any Mali player there to put that in the back of the goal, and that's where you need your strikers gambling. But that's an excellent ball across the face of goal, and it's been forced out of play in the end by Singo, who I think got the touch to it. In fact, Bolly got the touch to knock it away from Singo, and it's another corner to Mali. And there's another corner to be taken, and Mali take the time going across to it. It's Diabate that's going to take this left-footed in-swinger. Options in the middle, goes towards the back post, but it's held well by Fofana. I think the wind may have held that up ever so slightly and brought the ball back into his hands. And he's held on to the ball. Fofana keeps possession just for a moment, and then the long ball forward, wastes a couple of more seconds before he does so, hoping to help his players with their energy levels. The outfield players that have been on from the start at the moment, and Ndika, Conan, Kessie, Fofana, all been working tirelessly throughout the majority of this game, especially since the side went down to 10 men around about half an hour into the game. There's a challenge this time, and it's out of play for a Mali throw-in on the left-hand side. It's going to be taken by Sakho, who goes across to take it. Nene is down the line, as that's where he targets the throw-in. Nene goes to clear this, and it's actually a big boot that's gone straight into the face of Nene. Onto the top of the head. And he's down holding his head in a lot of pain at the moment. Immediately goes over to him. Is the Ivory Coast player guilty of it? And he will then receive a yellow card. Does Diakite. Substitute, of course, for Ivory Coast. And then free kicks being given now to Mali, taken quickly across the middle of the field at the halfway line. Now Mali make their way into Ivory Coast half by the touchline on the left hand side at the moment with Sacco. Plays the ball back to Niakate. Now back onto the right hand side for Traore, looking for the option in the middle. He's only got one. Plays it back across onto the right hand side for Diabate. Cross goes in, it's been blocked, and it's out of play for another Mali corner on the right hand side, the 9th corner of the afternoon. And Kessie is saying that the touch actually came off Traore last. He's not happy with the corner being given. Was that pass from Diabate? I think he even had the Mali captain unsure. He was late racing to it, and now another left-footed in-swinging corner is going to be taken. And now Diabate will take this. Plays it short. Gets the ball back. Laid off onto the edge of the area. Still wide right as an option is Traore. Now it's with Nene. Brings this inside. Goes down under the challenge. But the ball is still with Mali. Momentarily though, as in goes the challenge this time, and moving away with it is Fofana, who goes down. Nothing's given. And the ball goes all the way through to Diarra in goal. Diarra plays this short. Now with Kayate. Onto the right hand side for Traore, inside Ivory Coast half by the touchline. Plays it across again. In goes the challenge on this side by Adingra. It's out of play for a throw in. Diabate just going to make the option down the line for Traore. Traore goes back to Kayate. Pass across to Niakate. Now with Fofana to Bissouma. The effort's gone goalwards, and it's just sailed over the crossbar from Nene, who, very similar to his goal in the first half, tries the exact same thing again. Brings it in from the left hand side. His effort goes over, and again Fofana's down in the Ivory Coast goal as he calls across the referee. The referee's telling him to get back to his feet despite the fact that he's struggling at the moment with cramp. He's got a player along to help him. I don't think the referee will allow that to be an excuse. And we will get things back underway for us now. Bit of urgency being called for by Nene for his side, who enter into the final 6 minutes of regular time, of extra time, before any added time is given, and then of course a penalty shootout to follow. All forward headed away. Out of play on the right hand side now for a throw into Ivory Coast. Coming across to take it is Willy Bolly. Leaves the ball for Singo. Bolly takes up a position more as a centre back, and Singo now out on the right hand side. Goes down the line again. Multiple players in that area, but it's out of play for an for a Mali throw-in, inside their own half on the left hand side. 5.5 minutes left to go. Orders being shouted from the sideline in preparation. I hope the side can hang on. Done well to keep it at 1-1 of Ivory Coast. Of course, they went 1-0 down. Don't forget, Mali did miss a penalty 20 minutes into the game. Penalty taken by Dumbia. Saved well by Fofana. This time the pass has been made by Bissouma, goes just behind its intended target and out of play for a throw-in on the right-hand side. This is where Ivory Coast will take a bit more time. Singo will come across to take this throw in down the line again, searching for options. Flicked on goalwards. Collected by Niakate. Now played across to Traore, who's got space to run into. Wide right, he's still got the option if he chooses to use him. He has done it. It's Diabate. Brings this in onto his left foot. Diabate's cross goes in towards the back post, and Nene just can't quite get there in time. It was sent goalwards in the direction of I think it was Sissoko he was aiming for in the box. Sissoko made the early run. He brought a player in with him. And he went all the way towards the back post when Nene was making the run, and it sailed all the way out of play for a goal kick to Ivory Coast. Again, time just been taken by Fofana before he gets things back underway for us. Goal kick has been headed away. It's at the halfway line now with Marley. Still an opportunity to go forward on the left hand side. Under pressure at the moment. He's lost out on possession, but he's brought down Singo as well, so there will be a free kick now to Ivory Coast, just outside the goalkeeper's area. A chance if they can create something to deny the chances of a penalty shootout taking place. Fofana comes forward to take this. Just inside his own half. We've now played 117 minutes of football, including the extra time and the added time in each of the end of the halves. We're looking around about 128 minutes when all's said and done. As now the physio's been called on us, there's another player down on the floor, and it is Sissoko for Mali, who's down holding his knee at the moment. And winning the header. We'll just have a moment. He's not the only one down on the floor. Traore is also down on the floor, the captain for Mali. I think his was when he landed. He chested the ball away and he landed funny on his knee. I think it was the impact of the landing that may have caused any issues with his knee. And we'll wait for the referee's say-so for things to get back underway. As Traore being told to leave the field before things can continue, as physio attention requires a player to leave the field. The ball has been dropped to Adingra. He plays it back to Conan, who goes back to one of his centre halves, and Dicker. Long ball forward from Fofana, headed away onto the left hand side, and goes to challenge this time of Sacco. He's done well to keep possession. He's gone in for the challenge with Singo. He's done well with the possession to remain with his. Ball out onto the right hand side under the challenge. Ball goes out of play for a throw in near Traore. One ball down the line in search of Sissoko. Keeps the ball in play, and it's put out of play by Willy Bolly, and a throw in now deep inside Ivory Coast half into the final minute of extra time, and then whatever the referee decides to add on as added time. If neither side can find a goal soon, we are heading to the penalty shootout, the dreaded penalty shootout as sides could see it. Onto the edge of the area, he's almost gone down under a challenge. Nothing has been given. A throw in though, in fact, on the right hand side for Marley, hoping for a free kick on the edge of the area was Bissouma. The throw-in's been taken, it's been given back on the right hand side. Cross goes in towards the back post. The goalkeeper claims that inside the 6-yard box, and Fofana goes down to the ground with it in his hands. And he'll waste a bit more time while players regroup. It looks almost set that the 10 men of Ivory Coast, despite being under pressure for the majority of this game, have managed to keep Mali to a 1-1 draw. And potentially a penalty shootout. 1 minute of added time, and that's what we are in at the moment. Out on the right hand side, a chance for Ivory Coast. Goes down under the challenge. A free kick in a very dangerous position now for Ivory Coast. Can they steal the win in the final moments of the game. It's a challenge made by Traore on Diakite. We're not far from just outside of the goalkeeper's area, and a chance for Ivory Coast now. Plenty of options forward for them. Everybody back at the moment for Mali. They don't want to risk anything. We've almost played the final minute. Cross goes into the box, goes towards the back post. Player goes down on the edge of the area. It's St. Goalwood, and it's flicked into the back of the net. Diakite within 5 yards of the goal. It's an excellent finish from him to flick it off the inside of his heel to get it past the goalkeeper. It's been headed clear. I think Ivory Coast wanted a penalty at one point, but it's fallen on the edge of the area. Fofana's effort, St. Goalwood's, and it's taken a hit off the back heel of Diakite to send Diarra the wrong way. And in the dying embers of this game, we had less than 10 seconds left of the extra time to play. It is now Mali 1, Ivory Coast 2, and the game has been turned on its head. Just take a minute to appreciate the football and the defensive work of Ivory Coast. With those 10 players, they have stood firm defensively, they've stood very strong. They did concede a goal, but the appropriate changes were made to get Ivory Coast back into this game. And now, despite finishing third in Group A, Ivory Coast are on the very verge of the semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations. And they can't quite believe it themselves. The ball was actually going straight into the hands of Diarra if it hadn't come off of the back heel on its way through. From Diakite. But he scored the most important goal of the game, and the heart breaks of Mali supporters, players and staff, as the victory and the game was in their grasp. It is Ivory Coast that progress. We'll wait for the referee to blow to get things back underway. I assume there's going to be a second yellow card for Diakite. That's not happened. Right hand side, this cross goes in goalwards. It's been cleared this time by Ndika. Still with Mali at the halfway line. Still defensive work for Ivory Coast to do before this half is over. Back centrally again. Battling back and forth between Ivory Coast and Mali. I'm not quite sure if the whistle has gone, in fact. The referee is calling over the fourth official and the linesman to try and break things up. We haven't yet had the full-time whistle, but things aren't over and things are very much heating up between these two sides. Didn't get to see what quite happened from the kick-off, but we'll wait for the full-time whistle to go as Mali now have a free kick. Inside Ivory Coast half, Mali will have a free kick inside the centre circle that may even finish this game. Everybody's forward for them. It's actually been taken by Diarra, the goalkeeper. Calls from Fofana towards the supporters for the extra bit of support. It's not over yet. That's headed goalwards towards the back post. Just kept in play. It's now with Nene by the touchline. Tries to beat his man, just keeps it in play. His cross has been blocked. It's gone out of play. And I think he's going to give that as a goal kick. He's not. He's given it as the full-time whistle. And now there's issues kicking off once again with the referee, because he's made the decision to blow the full-time whistle instead of give a corner. Mali players are furious, and they're all surrounding the referee at the moment. There's been pushes made towards the referee who's pushed back. It's Ivory Coast that progressed. The full-time whistle has gone. That's not going to change. But Mali had a corner in the final moments that they weren't allowed to take. And now we've seen another red card that's gone towards Traore, who is absolutely furious with the referee's decision that now members of Mali's staff are forcing the referee off the field away safely. Tensions have really heated up at the moment, but it's all done and dusted. It's all said and done. It's Ivory Coast in the semi-finals. It is finished. Mali 1, Ivory Coast